Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your lunch as much as I did. We've got a busy afternoon.
No names are available.
So let me check in. Our governor's on the phone. Gene and Brian, are you back with us again? Okay. I know it doesn't, we've got a quorum, so, but just, yes, send them a quick note that we're starting. All right. We've got some special guests with us to kick off the afternoon. It's Kelly, you're here. There's Kelly, all right. And Diane, and it's Lepker. Did I get that right? Diane, all right. Believe it or not, on Kim's coming in, so who else are we missing?
I'm here by phone, Sherry Farr.
Thank you. I'm going to wait for Carla. Okay, and Ethan. Yeah, thanks, Rex. If you're on the phone, please mute. Sometimes we hear Neil Diamond and Backstreet Boys, Queen, all kinds of things. So, and if it isn't Kenny Chesney, we don't want to hear it. So, yeah. Well, this is Yakima. We got to pick our country tunes. Willie Nelson's okay too. Yeah. Okay. So what I was saying is we have special guests here from Cowlitz County, and a little backstory about how this came about is we were on the road, Kyle Schicchetti and I, by accident, and we were talking to members about 1788 and the structures work group and bar-related things, and we ended up down in Cowlitz County together.
No names are available.
And Kyle, he reminded me that he told me that they had a bar president down there that was a LLLT. And I said, you got to be kidding me. I said, I don't even think I've ever really met a LLLT. And I hear all kinds of things about them and what do they do and who are these people. And I was unbelievably blessed to meet Diane and a whole host of LLLTs down there who have...
Brian Tollefson.
Thanks, Brian. Diane's the president. That's the other thing that blew me away. She's a LLLT in Cowlitz County, but she's the president of the Bar Association. So not only had I never met a LLLT, so it was a thrill, but then to find out that there's a LLLT who actually is a bar president, and I thought that can't be, because I didn't think lawyers and LLLTs worked well together. But to my surprise, whatever they got going in Cowlitz County is working, and they are doing it right. So I asked Diana if she would come here, and if you both would come up to the podium here, not the podium, but have a seat there. Diane and Kelly. Sherry's on the phone? Sherry, are you there? Hi. Okay, welcome. Anyway, they're here to kind of give us a rundown what's happening in Cowlitz County generally, kind of a little bit of background about yourselves, and then it'd be great for us to hear what works, what doesn't work in this newer world of melding together LLLTs and attorneys in an effort to serve people. So welcome.
Oh, thank you. So I'll just start off with my background. My background is utility law. I have worked for very large corporations in the legal department. I started off with Avista. I did the Enron investigation for Avista, and then I moved to Portland General Electric and I did the Enron investigation for them. Later on, I went down and I started working for PacifiCorp, which is a Mid-American subsidiary of Berkshire Hathaway's. And I did all of their mergers and acquisitions. I managed all the outside counsel, millions of dollars. And I worked on simultaneous mergers and acquisitions. We did the Nevada Energy acquisition. We did the Chehalis. We did the Constellation bid. So we worked on all of that. As I said, I'm a FERC specialist. I'm into tariffs. I also, in addition to my LT practice, I also work for the federal government as a policy analyst. And so I work on tariff stuff and energy stuff, and I advise and do that kind of stuff. And So after I became an LT, I'm kind of situated between Cowlitz and Clark, and I've got a nice little practice in Clark. And I decided, well, I think I want to practice in Cowlitz. It's close to my house, and it's a small county. And so I reached out to the president, and I said, can LTs join your bar? And she says, well, we've never had an LT before. But let me check on the bylaws. So I got them to change the bylaws that allowed LTs to join the bar. So then it came out a couple months later that they wanted to have people, be on the board. So I said, are LTs allowed to be on the board? And she said, yes, they are. And so I put my name in the hat along with Sherry Farr, and we both got interviewed. Everyone got interviewed, and it ended up that I ended up being the president, and Sherry is the secretary. So not only are we the first LTs to be on a bar association, but Sherry and I together are the first LTs to represent not only LTs, but we work with the board. We manage all of that. When we got in there, Cowlitz is very progressive. They're very understanding, and they want to work with LTs. They don't have a problem with LTs. So Sherry and I got in there along with the other board members, and we noticed that there's a lot of stuff that needs to be cleaned up. We got to do some heavy work here, and it's pretty slow moving, which is something that I'm not used to because I like to move quickly. I want to get something done. I want to get it done today. So we went in, we had to do some compliance stuff, like, register with the state that we're an entity, fix the checking account because it didn't have the right EIN number, and we are rebranding everything. So we're doing a whole new website, we're changing the bylaws, so we're working on bylaws, and we're improving transparency between the board and the judges and our bar members. And so we're trying to bring back lots of communications. So we're working on CLEs to benefit our bar members. Some of the comments that I have received recently from like Judge Basher is that the judges are appreciative of the work that we're doing at the board. They like what they see, and they're looking forward to what we're going to do for the rest of the year. Which was very nice to hear. We've received emails from lawyers who normally probably wouldn't, accept a LLT. And I personally received them, and they said, thank you for your leadership. We really appreciate everything you guys are doing. So we think that's wonderful. In addition to all of that, we really work with unbundling. So part of what we want to do is show how LLTs have a place and lawyers have their place. And that doesn't mean that we're combative. That means that we can work together for the end result. So I personally work with 2 lawyers in a law firm that they actually, in their engagement letter, they make their clients sign a waiver that they're going to share their information with me because they're going to send all of the document preparation to me, all the research to me, help them with their litigation, and they want to make sure that their clients know that they're sharing it with a LLT outside their firm. So a lot of times I'll take in a case, we'll realize, hey, this has gone past the scope, it's going to go past the scope, and I will refer out to the attorneys. And then we'll work together. So I'll work on research and drafting, and we'll strategize together, and then we help the client. How does this help the client? Lower legal fees. So you can come to a LLT, and you can have a third of the cost, and then you can bring in the attorney, and you have the litigation side, but that client's still paying less than what they would have paid if they had just gone straight to a lawyer. So we're encouraging this. We all volunteer at the volunteer lawyers. We volunteer at clinics. I'm not really sure what else to say about Cowlitz and stuff that we're doing, but maybe Kelly or Sherry can jump in.
All right, let's start with Kelly. Kelly, anything to add to that?
Well, actually, I'm in Thurston County, and I'm a
Woohoo,
solo.
Thurston County, all right.
And
There's your governor right at the
yep,
end of the table.
yes, she announced it on Tuesday that I'd be on the menu here
All
today.
right.
So I have been licensed for nearly 3 years. I'm a solo. I'm treated very well in Thurston. They were very welcoming. Only one attorney's yelled at me.
That's less than I've experienced. My goodness. Yeah.
Give it time, I'm sure.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
So, and I also practice in Lewis, Mason, Grays Harbor County, some Kitsap. But I was lucky to be at the CLE that you were attending, and I think that's how I got shuffled in with Sherry
Scooped
and
up.
Diane. Yeah.
Yep.
So some of the things that I'm doing, I also work with attorneys who will offer my clients unbundled services. They file a limited notice of appearance and go just to court hearings, or maybe do a consultation on something that's outside my scope. They like it because I prepare an electronic case file, a case summary, I issue spot, I give them all the legal research, and I deliver it with a bow, and they get to go, wow, this is great, and they know they're prepared. They can come into my office and talk to me about the case and, get my thoughts on it. It's funny, our education, I guess I want to address some misinformation. Our education and our testing is very rigorous, and we have a lot of experience with the statutes and the rules and the case law, but we don't have the experience of, judicial discretion and what's going to really happen in the courtroom. So I find that attorneys can come to me and go, what's the rule on this, or what's this, and I can pop it off the top of my head. But I have to go to them and go, so typically with this commissioner, we're looking at a 50-50 deviation. How likely is this to, happen? So I find that the conversations are mutually beneficial. I know that I've been told that a lot of the reason there's a lot of pushback is there's a fear of competition. And what I always tell attorneys is the clients that come to me would never be able to hire you. So we're not taking your clients. These aren't your clients. But there is a way for you to help and get a piece of this pie by appearing for a hearing, or something unbundled. This is a piece of this case that you wouldn't otherwise have. We're the legal technicians, as you know, are a small group, and we have sort of formed a community. We have a listserv. We include people in the program. I started it, and I was in the second cohort, and so I started the listserv then and started my plans for an association. So I formed the Washington Legal Technicians Association, and we are lobbying and we are doing our best to educate the LLLTs. We want to ensure that the people that earn this license are competent and do us proud. We, as Diane said, we do a lot of volunteering. For 2 years, I had been working weekly at the Family Education and Sports Services in Olympia. I developed the clinic on my own. They kept saying, we have all these people that need help and we can't get an attorney to come. And it worked with my schedule. I have 3 kids at home, so I call myself a working stay-at-home mom. So I made it fit, and I would spend 2 hours a week there and countless other hours outside of the clinic doing this. And as clients would leave the clinic, I could hear the director say, so was it helpful? Kind of querying, how was it? And they'd say, I feel so much better. I got so much help. This was great. Can I come back? And we had to start limiting people to 3 visits because it was just, people would come every week. But that's how it is across the board. This group of people are helpers. We're doers. I think of it sort of vocational training, I come from a very different background. I was a residential and commercial painting contractor in Arizona for over a decade. And also before this, I was a private investigator. I hear people say, this came out of nowhere, but when I was pregnant with my nearly 15-year-old son, I started this process. I was in Arizona and I Googled something and read a practice of law board report about the pilot program, and I was working at that time to be a paid document preparer, which is in Phoenix.
Right.
Yeah, they have that program. And
Yep.
so But I was looking to get back home here in Washington where I grew up, and I said, well, they have this. So I kept following it, and I started doing everything, reading about the requirements, the education. So I was working on that as I was working to get here, and it feels like it's taken forever to me. But I know that a lot of people say, you guys came out of nowhere. And
Right.
yeah.
Good. Great overview. I don't want to leave Sherry. Sherry, anything to add on that intro?
Well, I'll just tell you a little bit about my background. And I worked for a litigation attorney as his sole paralegal for 18 years. About 50% of that was in family law. As I grew older and getting ready towards retirement, and then learned about the LLLT program, he was also retiring, and so that was a good. This was a good avenue for me to start my own business going towards retirement instead of trying to, start all over again with brand new attorney or a brand new firm. About 5 years ago, I became interested in the guardianship practice area, and the LLLT program was was considering that to be the next practice area after family law, and I still hope that they continue with that. But that was the reason that I got into the LLLT program, was because of the guardianship practice area. So a little bit about me. So I did retire from working for that attorney last year when I did get my license. I now work part-time for a guardianship attorney, 10 hours a week. I share office space with her, which allows me to pay for all my overhead in my office, just working those few hours for her. I volunteer with the Clark County Volunteer Lawyers, the Cowlitz Volunteer Clinic. I do both of those once a month. I also volunteer with the court on the once a month where they do their family law clinic. I'm on the board of SWEEP, which is Southwest Washington Elder Abuse Prevention. We do a lot of education in the community. So we do a lot of volunteer work, and then, of course, being on the Cowlitz board, working with Diane, and I agree with Diane. I think that the two of us have pushed and been able to organize and make a lot of progress. And I think that the attorneys in the southern part of the state here have a different view towards the LLLTs than in the northern part of the state. Mm-hmm. They're much more open. I think that a lot of them know us and know our reputation and know our education. So it's been a little bit easier for us to break into the field and be successful, as opposed to a lot of the pushback the LLLTs get up north. So I'm hoping that the attorneys will become more educated and more open-minded and see that we can all work together and help each other. And Diane and Kelly both made good points about how we can do that collaboratively to actually fulfill what our license was for, which is to serve the low and no income community. So I appreciate that you gave us all a voice in front of the board today and are willing to get to know us, because that's where myths get put aside. Once you get to know somebody and you get to learn about what the license really is and how we really are impacting the community.
Very good. Thank you, Sherry, Kelly, and Diane, for sharing those thoughts. Board members, and I see the governor from Southwest Washington has a question or a comment. Please, Kyle.
I hope we set a precedent today, and that every board meeting we can bring professionals from Southwest Washington to our meetings and showcase their talents.
That might become mandatory.
That would be great.
All right.
Diane and Kelly and Sherry have all made a name for themselves down in Southwest Washington. Everybody knows them. They've done a great job. Their energy is unparalleled. And this is a shining example of how the attorneys of the LLLT program can work together very successfully, as we've done in Southwest Washington.
Right. Thanks, Kyle. Diane, do you have a comment, Diane?
I was just going to say thank you, Kyle.
Okay. All right. I keep waiting to see our first LLT on the board. which hopefully that is not far away,
I'd like to see that too.
right? Me too. We're working there. We're slow but sure. Who raised their hand over there? Chris.
I'd just like to say we went up to Southwest Washington today because I was fortunate to have two representatives from the 10th District, Nancy Creer, who did our training this morning, who's fabulous, and Kelly, who's also fabulous and has been a very consistent and supportive person for family law attorneys in Thurston County and sounds like elsewhere, which I don't know anything about anywhere else. So, but she's a delightful person to have at our family law section meetings, which take place every month, and she's been a consistent contributor. And what I say to practitioners is that I think we need to look at the big picture in terms of all of the professionals that provide services to clients. And what I've heard consistently is that the judicial officers in our community are very enthusiastic about Kelly and therefore LLLTs in general, but mostly Kelly, because that's who they know. And so thanks for being such a great representative, and it's great to meet you.
Thank you.
Very good. Thanks, Chris. Governors, any other questions or comments? Carla.
So it's always interested me to know why not go to law school? Why choose a LLT position instead?
I'm 48 years old. I'm too old to do that. No, I get asked that a lot, actually, and I don't want to practice. I don't want to be licensed to practice in every area of law. You know, family law. I was a CASA in Arizona. This just speaks to me, and so this is all I really needed. My kids went through me finishing my college degree and graduating when I was 43, and I don't want to do that to them or myself. You know, I wanted to do this. I made it, and so I'm happy to be here, and I'm just going to make this work.
Paul.
Thank you both very much for coming today. It's enlightening. It's great to hear about the synergies that you're developing within the legal community. I was curious if you have any ideas, suggestions, policy proposals or rule proposals that could help the LLLT program maybe define itself a little better, maybe make it easier for you to help resolve access to justice issues. I think that is the driver for the program. I think also, the lower barrier to a legal profession is interesting, and I like the idea that it was helpful in your career. I don't think that the resistance is as great in, up north. I'm up north. I don't hear, folks in my circles talking, trash about LLLTs. I hear every now and then some angst in the, certain sectors, certain practice areas. But just curious if you have any thoughts about what the Board of Governors can do, what we can do as policymakers to help the program realize its mission of helping resolve some of the challenges around access to justice.
You go first.
Well, I think sometimes I can hear it, sometimes I can't. I don't know that there's anything policy-wise. I know that when the bylaw to allow us a seat, or an LPO member or a LLLT member a seat here was, I guess, you voted to amend that, and now that's been suspended. I think that was hurtful, and I think we're told constantly in the program, you guys are pioneers, you're doing great work, and then we got out there and we're licensed, and all of a sudden we felt hated, and like I said, people told me, you denigrate my license, and we take away from your license, and we had no idea that was coming. We thought, we're here to provide this service to help these people that need it. We are told the numbers that that in 5 years, half the membership's going to retire, and there's not enough attorneys coming up the ranks. We're told that nobody wants to practice family law anyway, and so, so we hear all of these things, and we felt all this stuff, and we're just trying to do good work. I think that the rule that is being worked on to enhance our practice is a good move. There's still other problems, and being so new and innovative, sometimes you won't know where the problems are until you put it in practice. So I think that that's being worked on. I would like us to have a greater voice. I think that, sorry, did you want to, okay. I just feel like this is a great start, I
have something to add to that. Sorry. So one of my things that I first did when I came to Bonneville is worked on change management. And if you've ever worked in the federal government moves extremely slow. And it is extremely painful to change someone's mind. So as a board, I think it starts with you guys. And so the change has to come from the top, and it will trickle down. And if you are supportive of the program and of the LLLTs and what they're doing, then the bar associations will now open up and also be accepted. And then the judges will fall in line, and the commissioners will fall in line, and pretty soon all the lawyers will fall in line, because there are communities in our state who still will not let LLLTs be bar members of the local county bar. And to me, I think that we have so much to offer. I mean, we bring a different set of skills. We've worked the cases, we know the law, we've worked with lawyers our whole life. And we have a lot to add, and we can make a change, but that comes from you guys first.
Can I follow up, Bill?
You bet. Please, Paul.
So, going back to the first thing that you said, there were some things that hurt your feelings, and one of them was the seat for LLLTs. That had far less to do with the fact of it being LLLTs than it being 3 more appointed seats dilutive of the elected seats. So just from a perspective...
No names are available.
From the perspective of someone who is a self-declared reformer, I'll just tell you, the LLLT thing, for me, has no bearing. You are entitled to run for the board, and I think you would have a lot of support. I don't think there would be an issue with that. I would suggest, so some of the things that you talked about today were very educational, and I think education may be the best path, and CLEs in conjunction with some of the other sections. So hopefully you're involved with sections. The corporate counsel section, we amended our bylaws immediately to make sure that it was clear that LLLTs could join our section. I think all the sections have open bylaws at this point. I'm not positive. But I would certainly be involved with sections, because sections put on CLEs. I've put on, in my career, maybe 200. And it's a great way to get out there with an educational message, with the policy ideas, and, get synergies and educate the attorneys about the synergies and, the roles you can play together to maybe educate and reduce some of the tension, if there is tension you're experiencing. And I would be happy as a member of the Board of Governors to help out in any way, making those introductions, coming up with CLE ideas or whatever.
There actually is a CLE at the end of this month that talks about the LLLT attorney collaboration. It's the legal lunchbox. Sarah knows about it.
Thank you for the segue, Paul. On the 29th, our next legal lunchbox is called LLLTs and Lawyers Working Side by Side to Gain Market Share. And basically the idea started from a LLLT speaking about how she had a real detractor come and say, how can I compete when you're doing this, this, and this? And she says, don't compete. And to that day, what I heard is that lawyer now gets like 50 to 75% of her business through these referrals going on. And we just said, well, this is how change happens. It's through the proof and it's through relationships. So on May 29th, LLLTs and Lawyers Working Side by Side to Gain Market Share. And then that's a pretty wide audience, considering it's lawyers at large tuning in for that. And then our CLE department is following up with that, which is really hands-on LLLTs and lawyers talking about how the partnership works and what the cost splitting is and how you actually do these from an ethical standpoint. So yes.
It's actually the 28th.
the 28th. That's right, it's a Tuesday.
Got it.
You're right.
So I would just suggest working with chairs of sections to send things out through listservs. I just sent out right before we started today something from the pro bono committee that they wanted to go out to the corporate counsel section. And as immediate past chair, I said sure, and touched it up and sent it out. I think that's a great way to start building bridges with the sections and the members of the sections and getting involved with the sections.
All right, I want to
Bill, I've
stop
got-
where I'm watching the time here, and if you've got a quick 30 seconds there, Carla.
Well, all I was going to say is that this really is a Supreme Court directive, not a Board of Governors directive. So I don't know, with regard to your question or your comment, I'm not sure to what extent we could really weigh in, because it's the court who has made the decision to create the LLLT program, and they make the decision from time to time to review and expand like they just did. So I, with all due respect to my colleague, I think maybe he's suggesting a different approach than what ought to really happen. I don't have a suggestion, but I just think that the court's in charge of this, not us, for what that's worth.
Thanks, Carla. All right, so we're out of time. I just want to say this little tagline: the people that change the world are the ones that show up. And I want to congratulate both of you, actually all three of you, Sherry as well, for showing up and sharing a little bit about the LLLT, your experience, and in particular how you're collaborating with attorneys in Southwest Washington in a way that actually does what we're supposed to do, and that is serve people. So congratulations. We are very thankful that you came, and know this is one thing we can do. You are welcome here at every meeting to show up and help us change the world for the better. All right? So thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate it.